Hey, welcome to the show. Yes, we are 48 days away from the election. And I thought this would be a really, really good time to talk about something. I don't know about you, but I think we've been avoiding it. But I think this is the time we have to, kind of just talk about it. And what is it we have to talk about? We have to talk about MAGA women. Yeah, at this point, why are there any MAGA women? Because hear me out. What more does this man have to do before you understand he's not a good person? Donald Trump is not a good person. He's a bad individual. And the way he treats women, and I just have to ask MAGA women, what are you doing? What are you doing? Because there are millions and millions and millions of women across the country that are concerned. They're scared, they're frightened. And you MAGA women, it doesn't seem to matter what JD Vance says or what Donald Trump says, you're still on board. And I have to wonder why. Why do you want to vote for not just Trump, but for Vance as well, when they treat women like second-class citizens? And the other thing that I don't think you understand is, how do you think people look at you? I mean, do you care at all the way you look and the way you're going to look to history? History will not be kind to you. Your children, your grandchildren will not understand this, because I want you to understand people around the world. I get it all the time. Drayton, why are 45% of Americans going to vote for this man? How bad does this man have to be before people say, yeah, that's enough, too much? I mean, when you're going on the social media in front of millions of people and saying, I hate Taylor Swift, yeah, there's something wrong with you. Yeah, there's something wrong with you to do something like that. And I just wonder, even with what took place in Springfield, where Donald Trump and JD Vance totally made something up. They basically went after a group of people for no reason other than just pure racism. Because I'm starting to think the reason you don't identify their racism is because you can't. And you can't identify it because you're part of the problem. Yeah, you're part. If you can't see, smell, or taste this racism coming from this man at this point, it's you. You're part of the problem. And like I said, the worst part about all of this is history is not going to be kind to you. Because in 48 days, this man is going to lose again. And he's going to lose in a big way. Because there are a lot of people out there that just don't want any part of this anymore. And why you're holding, as a woman, knowing how many women are up in arms about Republicans. Just today, the Republican senators voted down IVF again. Republican senators voted down IVF again. And it just seems to go on and on and on with Republicans. It seems like you can't trust them to do anything because they're not really interested in doing anything. And here you have women all over the country petrified that Republicans are going to continue to take away their rights. And as a MAGA woman, you seem to just not care. You don't seem to care about fellow women being petrified, scared to death. Doesn't seem to bother you at all. But I want you to know there are ramifications for your behavior. And I say that because in 48 days, when he loses the election, you're not going to be very proud of Trump anymore, are you? Because I can tell you right now, you better not be wearing his apparel or anything else after the election. Because if you do, people are going to treat you differently. People are going to treat you poorly. And people, in many cases, are going to ask you to leave. Because the sight of those type of materials after the election, yeah, it's not going to be permissible by most people. People are going to see it as hate speech. Just so you know. And I want you to know this because I don't want it to come as a surprise. Because 100%, save this video, save me saying this, 100% positive sure he's going to lose the election. He has no path to win. If you think 50% of the United States wants this guy as president, you're crazy. And I'm saying that in the nicest way. You're crazy. Because we have witnessed a complete meltdown by this guy over the last couple of weeks. The things he has said, the things he has done, not acceptable. Not acceptable to anyone. So the whole purpose of day 48, the 48th day, is to say, stop. Stop now while you still can. Stop supporting this awful person. This man who attacks women on social media. I hate Taylor Swift. Women don't have enough problems. They have to hear I hate Taylor Swift from some old guy on social media. How dangerous is that? And how dare he do something like that? And then you've got Trump and Vance making up stories about legal immigrants in Springfield, Ohio. How dare they? And then admit to making up the stories, and then here the governor's having to bring out the National Guard. I mean, can we say it out loud? JD Vance and Donald Trump are the definition of domestic terrorists. Look it up. Look it up. You're saying, oh, Drayton, you're being hyperbolic. Oh, Drayton, that's a bit... Look up the definition of domestic terrorist. And then tell me if JD Vance and Donald Trump fits that description. I'll wait. Okay, enough of talking about you MAGA women. Let's move on to something a little more joyful. Yes, let's talk a little bit more joy. Let's talk about the Harris campaign and what is going on. I don't know if you saw Tim Walz today. Tim Walz today was spectacular. Every time that man talks, you can't help but put a smile on your face and feel, what's the word I'm looking for? Comfort. Yeah, Tim Walz is comfortable. If something was, God forbid something happens to Kamala Harris, I would have no reservations about having Tim Walz step up. Every time I see him speak, every time, it's always with a smile on his face. I understand what he's saying. I understand what he's saying from the heart. I just get him. Maybe it's because I'm a boy from Ohio. Maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's the reason. Maybe it's because I'm a boy from Ohio. But when I hear him speak, it comes from in here. Do you feel the same way? By the way, if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do. Please subscribe to the channel. We're going to be counting down. This is day 48. We're going to be counting down to the election, all the way down to election day. And this is day number 48. Now, getting back to Tim Walz. He makes me feel like, and I've said it before, baseball, apple pie, and Tim Walz. Yeah. And then today, of course, Kamala Harris took questions. She sat down and took questions. And of course, you got the same questions over and over again. For some reason, every time she sits down to take questions, it's, what about Gaza? 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 Hey, what about Gaza? If I was her, I would write down my answer and go, oh, is this the Gaza question? Here you go. Here you go. I've written it out for you. I've taken the time just to write the answer for you. But the neat thing is, Tim Walz over the next few weeks is going to be he's in North Carolina right now, killing it in North Carolina. He's going to be going throughout Georgia, and I'm sure he's going to be killing it in Georgia. And you guys got to keep a secret. I got some inside information on Georgia. Harris is kicking butt in Georgia. You're not going to hear it on any of the news outlets. You're not going to hear it anywhere. I got this as private poll information. And I can tell you, the inside information is she's killing it in Georgia. She is killing it in Georgia. Yeah. So she's also doing extremely well. And as you know, I've already called the 5 states blue: North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So those 5 states are already blue. Can you imagine if we start turning, I don't know, Georgia blue, Florida blue, Nevada blue? Oh man, look, I just got goosebumps. I just got goosebumps. All right, last topic of the day. I want to talk about something that's kind of near and dear to my heart, something that I kind of came up with, and I've been talking a lot about it over on TikTok. And by the way, if you haven't checked me out over on TikTok, go check me out over on TikTok. But this is what I've been talking about. I've been talking about T-Fang. That's right, T-Fang, F-A-N-G, T-Fang. And what does T-Fang really represent? What does T-Fang mean? T-Fang is about Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia. And those 5 states, T-Fang, those 5 states represent the power of the Latino ability to turn all 5 of those states blue. It's about the Latino population, the Latino vote, coming together and saying, you know what? We've had enough. We've had enough. We're not going to vote Republican anymore. We're not going to do that. We're going to start voting for the people that are going to help out the community the most, and that is Democrats across the country. And that is the power of the Latino voting base. They have always had it. I feel it's like the story in The Wizard of Oz. You know, when the guy says, you've always had the ability to go back, just click your heels. Same thing here. Latino voters, you have always had the power. All you have to do is show up to the polls and vote blue. And guess what happens? Texas turns blue. Florida turns blue. Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia stay blue. So Latino voters, the power is literally in your hands. You guys have the power. You guys have the power to turn all 5 states blue. Do you do it this time? I don't know. If I had to bet, I would bet on 4 out of 5. But is it possible to get all 5? It is. As soon as you say it is, as soon as Latino voters decide enough is enough, Those 5 states are going blue and going blue from now on. So if you hear me say TFANG, just know what that means. TFANG just basically means Texas, Florida, Arizona, Nevada, and Georgia. And with the power of the Latino vote, you can turn all 5 of those states blue. Well, that's day number 48, 48 days away from the election. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. And if you haven't checked me out over on TikTok yet, please do. I'm Drayton Nay. I'm your host. I'll be back again tomorrow. Stay tuned. Keep watching us all the way down to the election. We're counting down 48 all the way down to number 1. And then it'll be election day. And then we have a party planned. Oh, do we have a party planned? But I'll tell you all about that. I'll tell you all about that tomorrow. So until then, we'll see you later. And don't forget, register to vote. Register to vote. Register to vote. We'll see you later.